What's up, everyone? It's Chris Swartz, your host of Fuel, and I am here today with our guest, Cary Grant. Cary, how are you?
I'm good, sir. You?
I'm doing well, man. I'm here with you. So Cary is the owner of Floor Seasons in Las Vegas. Cary's own Floor Seasons is a concrete coating company for the last 21 years, and Cary and I have connected in a coaching and mastermind group that we're in. And the energy and just, the knowledge that you bring to our group, I had to have you here on Fuel. So again, man, thanks for jumping on the podcast, and I'll let you kind of give a little bit more overview into what you do, but go ahead.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is actually my first podcast.
Woo! Yes,
So,
let's go.
Let's go. Sure. So, understanding what the context of your show was before I got on it, my judgment is that it was based on real estate and then how people got there, right? Because it's not just selling millions of dollars worth of homes. There's a skill set that's brought to it that attracts that kind of work to great real estate men and women, correct?
Actually, that's my background. My industry is in the mortgage space, which ties into real estate. But this podcast is universal entrepreneur. How do you get and achieve the greatness in your life? So it does tend to have a real estate heavy focus, just given my natural sphere. But no, man, this is any entrepreneur, public figure, athlete, somebody that has achieved great things in their life, and hearing their journey to share and inspire with others.
Sure. Yeah, I knew that it had morphed over time. However, I thought that was the foundation of it. But that's great clarification. Like in my world, real estate is brokers, lenders, like all of it just umbrella, right? Yep. So my courtesy. So for me, my claim to fame is actually concrete staining, right? And so I got there in the strangest of ways, right? And so I'm an ex-drug addict. I had a very tumultuous childhood. I took a self-improvement course, a typical, are you living the life that you want? Do you have the woman of your dreams? Are you making the money that you want? Let's go, right? So that whole typical.
You forgot a part. Write the check.
What's that?
You forgot a step. Write the check. Let's go.
Right, write the check. So I took this class and it began to attract different things to myself. I was actually a janitor for many years, feather dusting desks, vacuuming the floors in these big corporate buildings with my dad. And then I pulled away from him, and I was actually at a community service project that my friend had taken me to, that actually took the course that I wound up taking 3 years later. And he's like, when are you going to do it? 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 The whole thing, right? So I'm at this community service project and I'm actually laying tile, which I didn't really know how to do. And the man next to me owned a janitorial service minus floor cleaning. And I knew how to do the floor cleaning. So he was like, we should have lunch. And I was like, we should. So I built that part of his company over the course of a few years. And at one point, he was like, I'm bored, so I'm going to send you to marble shaving school. And so went and learned how to shave marble. You got to scratch across your countertop. I can take that out. You got to scratch across your marble floor, or it's not as shiny as it was when you first got it. I can handle that. So like I did that work at Mike Tyson's home. I got an opportunity to work in his home to bring back his marble in one of his homes. So a few years after that, he says, hey, we're going to get into concrete staining. And I was like, okay, Ron, you're bored again. Got it. And he's like, no, I'm telling you, it's going to be the next biggest flooring on the planet. And I was like, Ron, I got it. You're bored. Pay me my hourly wage and we'll figure it out. I fell in love nearly instantly with the tagline of my company is art you can walk on. So when I stepped into concrete staining, for the most part, it was brown. And my employer at the time wanted to do brown and leave, right? I wanted to have borders. I wanted to have tattoos for concrete. I
Nice.
wanted to make it personal. So back then it was really considered like a Southwest kind of flooring. Like you had to have cows or horses, like incredibly durable, brown get out. Well, I wanted to see it in churches and banks and
Hmm.
things like that. So I started to dream and create habits, and he wanted to do brown and I wanted to do more. And that's when I left to do my own thing. I had no idea how to open a company, much less run one. And then now that's been a 21-year journey.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. And you sent over some pictures, and I'll throw them up. But it is truly art, and I think it's really cool. I haven't really seen a lot. You're in Las Vegas. I'm here just outside Philadelphia. I haven't seen a whole lot of that here in the Northeast. And so when you sent it over, I was like, dude, that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
And so I mean, you mentioned a couple of things in there, and obviously you didn't know like what you were doing, you didn't know how you were going to do it, and that's kind of the fun part of what we do here on Fuels. Like we unpack people's journey so that other people can listen and understand that, like, hey, you might not have the roadmap, you might not have the plan, but if you have what you had, right, you had the vision. You're like, I don't want to just do brown. I want tattoos for concrete, right?
Right.
So and that I think is really something that, as an entrepreneur and as somebody that wants more, wants to kind of push the envelope, wants to think outside the box, is
Mm.
really not everybody has that, right? Some people are like, you said brown.
Everybody does.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That's what's crazy.
Well,
Everybody.
I would say they have it, but they may not want to bring it to life, right? Like, okay, you said
Yes.
brown, you said brown. I think it'd be cool if we did this, but you're the boss, you're giving me the check, we got brown, let's go. And it never blossoms.
Well, what I was getting at, and pardon the interruption,
Yeah, go ahead.
everyone's got excuse me, I've got all the tools for me to create what it is that I want out of my life. Everyone has that.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
inside of what the subconscious, right? Subconscious, not the brain. The body is actually an avatar, and the brain is the marionette of what happens subconsciously. So it's the idea of to think is to create. Now, that has to be coupled with action. So let me say it a different way. So everybody has a genie inside of them. The genie can only be obedient to what I tell it. So I feel sick. Little genie goes, okay, right?
Right.
I feel healthy every breath that I take, and I'm moving further and further away from not feeling so good. Okay. I'm never going to amount to anything. Okay. Subconscious can only be obedient. The problem is that I got programmed from a very young age. And can I cuss on this or no? Should I steer clear?
You're good, man. I mean, we don't go
So
crazy, but yeah, we're
my
the overall
core,
conversation.
my core iOS system, right, that I was trained to be 81% by the time you're 8 years old, period, is that I'm a low class, white trash, piece of shit, trailer trash that's never going to amount to anything, just like the rest of us.
Wow.
That's what my operating system was put into me by my mom and dad. And that's no more the truth than anything, right?
Right.
However, I went out to make that true, because that's what the core iOS system is. It's like, how many times do we wake up in the morning and there's a new update for our phone? it makes it operate better.
Right.
Now we'll hit, heck yeah, let's do that. And our phone shuts down for a minute or two, and then poof, our $1,500 phone operates better.
Right.
The idea is, when was the last time that we trained ourselves to operate differently from what usually is programming from our parents?
Right.
Now, it can also be at 12 years old, I got beat up by a biker, a motorcycle guy. And now I think all bikers are bad.
Right.
Or was it just the one biker?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not being able to go back and change those things. However, it is the ability to transform the thinking, to get out of the core iOS system where I am capable.
Right.
I have a solution. I just need to find it.
Yeah.
So another way of saying it is this. When we were small children and there was a cookie at the back of the counter, right? And we were, let's say we were 2 foot tall.
Right.
And we wanted the cookie. We got it because we got a chair.
Right.
And then we got this old thing called a phone book. And then we put that on the chair because we were so short.
Right.
Got up on the counter. We crawled across the counter because we were so small. We opened the cookie jar and we got the cookie because we were capable. Through programming, we make decisions based on events that happen to us. I'm Jewish. I'm Black. I'm a woman. I'm a man. I'm short. I'm tall. When none of that has anything to do with, I want X and I am going to get it.
Man, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, that is the key, is that program, right? And that is what fuel stands for. Fuel stands for foundations under extraordinary lives.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the foundation, right? The foundation that your life is built on, sometimes and it's, you're a concrete guy, right? Sometimes that concrete and that foundation is just perfect. You have the perfect life and whatever. Sometimes that foundation, as I like to say, it has some cracks in it, right? Your program, your foundation is like, hey, you're a low class piece of shit, white trash, and you're never, like, that's the foundation, good, bad, otherwise, that like you're built on, dude, and you have a choice and you made decisions.
Yes.
You have a choice and you made decisions to say, you know what, that foundation, not quite, what I would have pictured or what I would have envisioned, but you know what, that allows me to be this person, be Cary Grant, and be resilient and be ready to crush the world, because that's my foundation. And everybody has that foundation that you're built on. And you can either look at it and say, oh, my parents did this and they did that. And you can whine about it and say, oh, my foundation is fucked, right? Or you can look at it and say, well, not quite the way I would have written the book, but look at all of this stuff that I can do, because only Cary Grant or Chris Swartz has experienced their foundation.
Yes.
And then you make the decisions to do whatever you're going to do, whine about it, cry about it, crush it, whatever. And that's why I love you, man, because we connected up through our group with some really great men, and you're involved in another group where you've done so much work, and mentioned about universal truths and the things that you've studied and put a lot of time into. And man, that's what that's why we're here. That's why I wanted to get you on the show, and just to talk a little bit more about like the work that you're doing and how you went from that foundation, which we've just talked about, to like being in the work that you do on yourself and achieving
Yes.
the greatness that you're living.
Yes. Thank you for the accolades there. I appreciate you seeing me. As
Oh,
the
of course, Gary, come on,
as the
man.
young kids say, thanks for seeing me.
Yeah.
I ideally, to what you're saying, it's knowing that I can do it, and very careful words, right? Very careful, bringing discipline and rigor to believing it and knowing it, usually for 90 days, because it takes 90 days to change a habit. So I can sit and think I would love to communicate better to my wife. Great thought.
Right.
Now it's got to be coupled with action. So being mindful of what I'm thinking internally, what I'm saying externally, and tracking it backwards. If I want to land on a hug and a kiss with my wife, that's point B. How must I be track that back to a point A, then move towards the point B?
Right.
So once a universal tool, a universal truth is in my radar and I can see its value,
Mhm.
I am unbelievably ravenous to own it, to
Right.
be it. I'm not a human doing, I'm a human being. I'm being graceful. I'm being patient. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah. Awesome.
so once somebody notices something that they want to change, it's being on high alert for some time to actually rewire what is going to be their new reality. And most people don't have that discipline because they like Taco Tuesday.
Right.
They're nice and comfortable with the life that they think that they're meant to have versus I want something different. I know I can have it, and I'm going to bring discipline and rigor until I own the tool, right?
Right.
And so, before we go too much further down the rabbit hole, you mentioned it, I probably mentioned it, tools and universal truth. So I want to talk about that for just a second.
Yeah.
So if I took the Bible and the Quran, right, which have deities and dogmas, and it's an actual religion, an actual faith, right?
Yep.
What's underneath it, meaning true of both, is what's called universal truth.
Okay.
So inside the Bible and inside the Quran, they say a lot of things. They just say it a little different. Those things are what's called universal truth. I study universal truth,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Minus the deity, minus the dogma. And here's what I'd say. If you're a Christian and you're doing great things on the planet, awesome. Right on. If green M&Ms is your jam and you're doing great things on the planet and you're being of contribution, right on. It keeps me neutral to someone's faith
Gotcha.
because faith is actually awesome. Through hate, usually, or faith, not hate, sorry, can create hope. And from hope, fear can be present and then courage can happen.
Dude, I love that.
Did
That's
you
all.
know? Do you know what has to be present for courage to happen?
No, man, just drop it
Fear.
on me.
Fear.
Yep.
It is literally impossible to implore courage, to want something different of who I am as a man, have fear about it, because there's going to be change. There's going to be discipline and rigor. And on the other side of it, I'm going to be a better father. I'm going to be a better husband. And minus those two things, I'll be a better man so that I can contribute more. So fear must be present to have courage.
Dude, that is awesome, Cary. Thank you, man. That's
It's like you said, I've done so much work through a seminar company. I call it a bunk bed life. So I'm heading up to my 65th staffing. The shortest one is 8 days, 7-day class, 8 days for the staff. The longest one, which is all men, used to be 10 days and 11 days for the staff.
dude, that's
I've
insane.
done 33 and 34. In 2 weeks, I'll be leaving for my 35th of the men's leadership seminar. Now,
Wow.
I started that journey because low vibration, right? I was an idiot and I was a drug addict and I needed to get my thinking different to have something different quickly. So I knew if I signed up to staff, for one, I would hear a $5,000 class for free
There you go.
by sleeping in a bunk bed, by vacuuming floors, by making sure that the students had no wants other than to be a student.
Mm.
In and through that part of it, now rolling up on 65 times, I've learned how to be me, be authentic, and speak to all kinds of different people. Millionaires, bankruptcy, grandfathers, 19-year-olds.
Mm.
And in and through putting myself in those places to learn how to be authentic, right? Because that's the big one for me. I'm
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
a foul-mouthed, tattooed pirate. However, I'm integrous. I'm honest. I'm intimate. I'm vulnerable. I've chosen to look this way. Now, I did it out of abandonment issues, and I wanted to push people away. So I actually worked on being approachable for a few years too, because nobody's going to hurt me anymore. No one's going to abandon me. But I made up this paradigm to, hey, stand back until you know who I think I am, which kept people away from me. They were scared of me, and for good reason for a while,
Yeah.
because I wasn't going to get hurt and I wasn't going to be abandoned.
Mm.
Once I started to learn and grow and wanted to be of contribution, something different had to happen there, because I was the guy that you walked on the opposite side of the street.
Mm.
That
Yeah,
was not what I wanted.
dude. And that, I just want to acknowledge you right there. Like, that is not an easy, you don't just flip the switch, man. Like that, like, you live that, I mean, shit, man, you've got it all over your body, right? You're like, hey, look, stay away from me, man. I'm the badass with tattoos. You better get over there. Like, you don't wake up one morning and, you know what? I want to be approachable, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, well,
Right.
dude, you've
Right.
done a lot of work to not be approachable. And I just want to acknowledge and commend you, man, because when I first, when we met in our group, and as I talk to you now in every conversation, dude, you're not only approachable, like, dude, I just, I just want to give you a high five. I just want to give you a fist bump, give you a big ass hug. I'm like, Cary is like, you're just so approachable and you're so relatable, and you're just like coming from that point of contribution. It just like literally pours out of you, and to be where you were, and we don't have to go, down the depths of what that was. I think people get the idea, right? Like
How
you
long's the podcast?
yeah, right.
A couple months.
Yeah, like we can all paint that picture, but man, to go
Sure. Well,
from there, it's
we've all
unreal.
gotten locked in the glove compartment. That's what I like to tell people. All of us got locked in the glove compartment at some point. Got it. Got it.
Right,
What are
got
we
it.
doing now? Most of us are adults clinging on to some type of event and polarizing it, good or bad, so that we can live the life from that moment that's in the rearview mirror.
Right. Yeah, man.
Memory lane is closed. It's under construction. I used to have a 4x4 that could handle that road. I'm in a
Yeah.
freaking Bugatti now, and I honor that suspension. I honor the cost of that car. That road is not meant for me anymore,
Dude,
because I've done the work.
man, so insightful, Cary. I mean, just really awesome perspective, man. And just,
It's possible for everyone. That's the thing. So I don't know if you've ever heard this. What I'm fixing to say is important. Intimacy. Into me, you see. Intimacy. Into me, you see. Love Guru with what is it, Mike Myers? There's like 6 one-liners in that film, and it was one of them. And I was like, oh, that's a t-shirt right there. When I become a man of contribution, my want is to heal the world that I see. And I have a 6-year-old son. So my duty, my responsibility is to take myself on, be an example of what's possible, so that the world that I leave my son is better off from my presence. Anybody can do what I've done. Ideally, when a teacher, when a philosopher, when a coach puts himself on the playing field and is intimate, it makes the person receiving the information, whether they've paid for it or not, know that they can achieve it too. One of the worst things that can happen is getting on a pulpit and preaching a sermon without any kind of this, I've done it too.
Right. Yeah.
It means it's unattainable. Thank you, guru guy. Got it. But you didn't tell me any way of how you did it.
Right.
So I don't know if I can do it, because I'm the guy you see right now, versus being intimate and saying what happened and how I got through it. Then they're like, oh,
yeah,
got it. Okay, then I can do it too.
That's the game changer, right? That's the game changer.
It is.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, we're talking about this, the rear view mirrors, memory lanes closed. And as we kind of get to wrapping things up here, Cary, what is, what's the future? Where are you heading? What's in store for Cary Grant, this next phase, looking forward? Because we're not looking back.
The best way I can do that is by saying what's true now, which is I own a 21-year-old concrete coatings company. My want is that in the next 2 years, that sustains itself to attract money to myself and to its employees without my presence. I am currently going down a new tube where I am looking at being branded shortly. I'll have my own class, couple of different podcasts myself, one where I'm being interviewed and one where I interview, a book. And so I'm heading into teaching, into universal truth, professional mindset training. So I'm heading into mindset training.
Nice. And
so that,
oh, go ahead.
No, so that while I'm here, because I'm the source, I've got all the tickets to live the life I can. And it's become very clear to me in the last few years, by way of contributing to myself to learn the tools that I paid for, right? By doing the bunk bed life, I've become a different man.
Right.
So now purpose, now my edge, now my vision is to actually contribute that at a much higher level than I have been.
Dude.
And I'm heading into that now.
Oh man, that is so clear. Like you took a little pause there and then you just nailed it. Like there was no hesitation after that pause, and you're so clear on going down, that next pipe, as you said. And dude, I'm so excited to have connected with you and to see, as this all evolves. I mean, and everybody listening, I know you probably got a lot out of this. So connect up with Cary and just let's follow this journey, because as you're listening to this, I'm sure, and I hope, and I know Cary, I'm sure feels the same, that you got some nuggets out of this, because again, the amount of work and time and energy that you've put in to be able to share the insights that you've just shared over this last 30 minutes or so is astounding, Cary. It really is. And you are right there at the edge of, like, you have figured it out. Like, I need to put this business over here. I've built it. We can put some things in place so that can be self-sustaining. And here's where I need to be to contribute in the way that I'm meant to contribute to this world.
Well, in the course of agreeing with you and wanting to clarify what you just said is this. So it's like a scale. I have so much in the win column, success, failure, success, failure. It's becoming easier for me to get what I want quicker because I filled my cup with successes. I started over here failing. Okay, that worked. That didn't work as well. And a lot of people that are listening are going to be possibly starting there. It's okay. The idea is to improve every day, to fill the cup to where it becomes this insatiable want to keep doing it because I've filled my cup. I've got enough evidence. I've got enough proof that it's possible.
Right.
And it'll always be peeling off a layer of the onion until I'm 6 feet under. The process never ends. I'm right now with you learning how to communicate differently to my wife. Yet I feel like I'm a really good communicator.
Right.
I could never communicate differently until I die. What's true is I'm peeling another onion layer back. And I'm realizing it's coming from some wounds with my mom as a kid. So it's always having that want to improve. It's never going to end. I'm never going to arrive. It's putting coal on the engine so it starts to move. And sometimes that's the hardest part, is getting enough coal, enough evidence that it's possible. Once that journey starts for anyone, just like you and I, it becomes easier. It becomes more profound and more a lust for it.
Yeah, no, and it's exciting, right? It just really,
it's a way of life.
Exactly. It's a way of life, and it just really, it's just amazing when you can look back and after you've peeled the layer back.
Yes.
Oh, I did have a blind spot, and you know what? And I love how you said it. It never ends, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to share a little bit of our journey and some nuggets, and I really hope that our listeners got some good stuff out of this, man.
Do we have any more time or no?
We got a few minutes, but we're gonna wrap it up.
So I want to leave it with this. This is gonna be a great one.
Yeah, good.
Have you ever heard the old adage of, and unfortunately, I don't know another way of telling this story without making it about men and women, right?
All right.
A knight in shining armor. You ever heard that?
Yeah. Yep.
Do you know how sad that is?
I'm here to hear the story.
So the knights in shining armor, so he looks good. He's taking selfies. He has a persona on Facebook that's nice and pretty, versus maybe we should be looking for men that aren't so shiny, that have a chink in their armor, where the leather bands are wearing out to hold the metal on, or that I'm coming out of a battle and those leather bands need to be replaced, and that my sword, although razor sharp, can get sharpened after a battle, but there is still going to be chinks in the metal that will never come out.
Right.
If seeking someone to look at as an example, it most certainly isn't the man in knight in shining armor. He's never been battle tested. Our scars, our wounds, our shadows, our traumas are designed to give us a place to come from fear, to have courage, to transform, because we can't change it. None of us can go back and change anything. However, we can transform how we're going to go with it before or after, right?
Yep.
Those chinks and that worn out leather, it's all good. It makes us who we are so that we can be of contribution from what we've been through.
Dude, we can't end on a better note, man. That
mic drop.
Boom. Mic drop. That's awesome, man. And that is just the best analogy. Those battle wounds, those scars, that's battle tested, and that's how you're going to get through. You've been through it. You've been to the lowest of lows to reach the highest highs, man. And appreciate you sharing your journey, Cary. This has been awesome. We got you on your first podcast, dude. And
so nuts,
dude. awesome, right? All through a totally different journey that we're on together, for something totally, different in our lives. So thank you,
You're welcome.
for this contribution. Thank you for the connection that we have. And for anybody listening, if they want to connect with you, how can they find you?
So in the moment, it's a few sources.
Yeah,
So you
go
can
ahead.
find my company Floor Seasons at information or info at floorseasons.com, like four seasons, but floorseasons.com. So you can email me through there. I'll wind up getting it. Or
Awesome.
you can go to my Facebook page, which is Cary Grant, which it's really Cary Grant. And there's a lot of Cary Grants. My profile picture is a black and white picture of me, shirtless, whatever. White angel wing, black angel wing.
We're going to make it easy, Carol. We're going to get that picture and we're going to put it in the show
Perfect.
notes. We're going to
Oh,
put it in the
thank you.
show notes.
Perfect. And then
Um,
the people that want to can actually start the journey with me, if you will, because I have no social media presence at all. It's actually starting probably in a month and a half or so.
awesome.
So get on early.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, we're gonna, keep in touch for sure,
Yes,
and
sir.
share anything that we can out with our
Yes, sir.
audience here at Fuel. And if you're listening and you've got something out of this, do two things. One, share it with somebody on social media, share it with a
Absolutely.
friend, let them experience this same wisdom that Cary just dropped with us here and enjoy it. And and also give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Take a minute. Really appreciate that 5-star ratings. And Cary, before we jump off here, I just want to, one thing we like to do is leave everybody with something they can take away. So I'm going to ask you, what is a book that you've read, and I know you've read many because you and I have shared quite a few already, that has had an impact on your life that you would suggest to our listeners?
For parents, it would be Love and Logic.
Okay,
I do not know the author.
that's all right. We'll find it. We'll put it in the show notes.
Love and Logic. It's actually a study on how to train our young ones to be logical in
Okay.
there and be responsible for what's going on. As far as a book, I would say mostly for men, it's one that I just read that blew my noodle, which was The Way of the Superior Man.
Yep. Yep. And you and I just
Blew
finished
my
them
noodle.
together. So definitely, man, two awesome books. Pick them up. We'll put them in the show notes. And Cary, on that note, man, we did it. We are out. Check us out on the next Fuel podcast. Again, give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and connect with Cary Grant. Have a great day, everyone.